So you got yourself your Narchillan gear and you want to know where you can grind. Well, lucky for you, I grabbed myself some Narchillan gear and did some tests on the beginner spots that a new player should be going to, and honestly, I was really surprised by the results. Alright, let's see what you can do, Sage. Let's see the damage. Oh! Wait, he can actually grind the shit. Wait, he can actually grind this shit. No way, dude. No way. Before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about the gear I was using, because obviously mileage will vary depending on the gear you're using, and also the format of the video and how I'll be kind of explaining the spots. So the purposes of a new player, I made sure that my gear was as close as possible to what a player would have without journals. So I ended up with 237 AP and 236 DP without journals. Keep in mind, this is also with Narchillan gear, so I do have the additional monster damage and monster damage reduction due to the set bonuses. Also, I was too lazy to do an actual crystal setup, so if you actually end up using 4 Hooms, Dark Fang crystals, and accuracy crystals, you will do a lot better than I did. This was a base test with barely any proper crystals. So, in terms of format, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to basically rate the zones from easiest to hardest. So the easiest zones are going to be zones where you can grind without really thinking, one-shot the mobs, and you really take no damage. And then I'll go into the zones that are difficult, where you need to know your class, you need to have a proper setup, and you are going to take damage if you mess up. However, you can still survive there. Starting off with the easy category. In the easy category, we have Blood Wolves and Runaros. Let us begin with Blood Wolves, the classic spot for beginners in 2021. The reason this is a great spot for beginners to go to is because it's very easy to kill the mobs. You can one-shot the mobs and they do virtually no damage to you. This is great because this is going to teach you how to play your class, and you can learn the mechanics of all of the games. Not to mention, the packs are also organized very well, so it's easy to kill them and there's no pulling required. With the Narchillan gear, you basically plow through the spot, so you'll have no problems. Highly recommend this if you're a new player and you're trying to figure out your class. Another really nice thing is that you get the infinite pop piece from Blood Wolves. And the infinite pop piece is really rare, and a lot of people have to spend a lot of time grinding there. But if you're a beginner, the money is good, so it's actually worth your time. A lot of endgame players are sacrificing a lot of silver per hour just to get this pop piece. So if you get it early, you have a huge advantage. Similar to Blood Wolves is another spot called Runaros. So the main difference between Runaros and Blood Wolves with Narchillan gear is that Runaros is a little bit more tanky and you make less money there. So I would not recommend Runaros over Blood Wolves. However, the main reason you go to Runaros instead of Blood Wolves is if you already have the Blood Wolves infinite potion piece. Still a good spot to grind if you do want some money and you want to learn your class. Very easy to do compared to the next spots that are coming up. So next up are the medium spots. So these are going to be manshaums and mirumok. At these spots, there's going to be mobs that take less damage, and they're also going to dish out a lot more damage. And especially at mirumok, you're going to have to learn some mechanics in order to be successful. So let's start with manshaums. So manshaums is a little bit more difficult than Blood Wolves or Runaros because you do take a little more damage and the mobs are tankier. However, I do recommend this spot once you kind of get a handle of your class, because you do end up making a lot more money here just from the trash loot and the jackpot item. So at Runaros or Blood Wolves, you're basically getting a 1 to 2 mil jackpot item. Meanwhile, at manshaums, you're getting a 15 to 16 mil jackpot item. So just there, you're making a lot more money. Alongside manshaums is a spot called mirumok. So mirumok is the best EXP in the game for low level players, but you will need 2 other friends because it is a 3-man spot. The thing about mirumok is it can be really good money depending on the people you are grinding with, and also it is kind of difficult because there are mechanics involved. So the way it works is there's this little tree, and once you go near the tree, it'll spawn mobs. So you have to kill waves of mobs, and you have to dodge these red circles while you're killing these mobs. So there are some mechanics involved, but once you get it down, it's pretty easy. But if you don't follow the mechanics and you stand in the red circle, you will die because that shit will one-shot the crap out of you. Anyway, my point with these spots is that they are a little bit more difficult. However, once you get a handle on your class, Narchillan gear should be able to let you smash through the spots. However, that's not the case with the upcoming spots that I'm going to talk about. So these are the hard spots. I would only recommend these spots once you get a full understanding of your class, because you still do take a lot of damage and you do need to understand the rotation and how your damage comes through in order to kill these mobs effectively. So in the hard category, I put 3 spots. So I put Kratuga, Hystria, and Aakman. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, my experience here was pretty much the same for all 3. The main things that you need to have in order to grind these spots is a full buff rotation, a proper understanding of your class, and potions. The reason for this is these mobs are really tanky, so understanding what debuffs your class does and how to avoid their damage is critical. Because number 1, you won't be able to kill them, and they'll be able to kill you if you aren't dodging their damage. So that is imperative if you want to grind these spots. Hey guys, Editing Astro here. I just wanted to make a quick note about trash loot here. So in order to get the highest amount of trash loot here, you also need to learn pulling, so that goes under mechanics. At these spots, the better pulls you do, the more money you will make. And what I mean by pulling is organizing the mobs in groups. Up till this point, all the mobs are generally in tight-knit packs, but at Kratuga, Aakman, and Hystria, there is a chance that they won't be, and you have to make sure that they are grouped well together in order to kill them as fast as possible. Because of this, I wouldn't recommend going to these spots right off the bat. I would recommend either going to the easy or medium spots in order to get a full feel for your character, and then once you've done that, then you can come to these spots. That being said, it is totally doable with Narchillan gear if you do understand your class, and you do make a lot of money compared to the other spots. The reason for this is the trash loot is worth a lot more, and the jackpot item is worth 70 to 100 mil depending on what the market is doing. So it's kind of a risk reward where if you do learn your class and you want to take the risk of going out there and fighting those harder monsters, you can make a lot more money. However, like I said, I don't suggest it right off the bat. I would suggest learning your class a little bit and then hopping into these spots. Overall, looking at Narchillan gear, it's definitely not as good as Tuvala is. However, I would say that it is a better change because you get Narchillan gear way faster than you do Tuvala. So in that respect, you can actually progress faster because you get access to these grind spots way before you would with Tuvala. I hope this video helped you guys understand where you can grind with Narchillan gear and what grind spots look like for new players. If you guys did enjoy this, please drop a subscribe to the channel. I also stream on Twitch almost every day at 6:30 p.m. EST. You guys can go ahead and catch me there and ask me any questions you guys like. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys later.